Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, episode 46, Suplex Biddies. Brought to you by Couch Guy Sports. Make sure to use the internet one time. Go check them out. CouchGuySports.com. All the blogs, all the podcasts. To name a few, we have Into the Triangle, the Couch Guy Sports podcast. We have The Chasers, Yellow Card, High Heat, Cuban Jones Fantasy Football, Shorthanded Takes, and many, many more that you want to get familiar with. So trust me, go on CouchGuySports.com. You'll see everything. Follow us on Twitter at CouchGuySports.com as well. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can see we're a man short tonight. Diego is out on business, so Hunterman and I are here to do business.
Growing the brand, baby.
I don't know. This is either Diego's best idea or Diego's worst idea.
Top 3 worst, probably.
Giving Hunterman and I the access to do a show by ourselves, I don't know how it's going to go. So we'll see. But real quick, we have a word from our sponsor. Shocked Energy is a drink made by gamers for gamers. All their flavors compact with 180 milligrams of caffeine to ensure that no matter what you're doing, your focus will always be razor sharp to keep you performing at the top of your game. Do yourself a giant favor. Go to shockedenergy.com. Use the promo code CGSN today. 10% off your order. We have 2 flavored boxes, green apple and watermelon. Both very, very good. Trust me when I tell you, you're going to want to get both of them. They ship worldwide. Get Shocked Energy today and get your focus back because I desperately need it right now after that ad read. Horrendous. C+ by Jones tonight.
It's generous. Is that on a scale? C+? It's
on a scale of A to Z.
Perfect.
So, Armin, how are you doing tonight?
Yep. Doing great. It's Tuesday. It's February 15th. We all had our lovely Valentine's Days and all that stuff. Hope everyone had a nice time. Yeah.
Controversies on a Tuesday,
Always. Plenty of rumors circulating in the rumor mill for the world of the Graps.
Yeah. So we'll get into that.
Plenty to get into. Yeah.
So what do you want to start off with? You want to start off?
Elimination Chamber, I think.
Just
chat about that, what the card is, a couple thoughts, a couple takes.
Yeah. So
the big news.
We talked about what was on the card last week. A couple more matches have been added. So now Hunterman and I are going to give our full, unbiased predictions on what's going to happen, which for all 4 of you, that's fantastic. That listen, you're going to be like, these guys know what they're doing. But for all the other people that listen, God bless. All right, so we'll start off with the Falls Count Anywhere match. Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss.
Falls Count Anywhere. Don't forget.
Clearly you don't listen because I said let's start off with the Falls Count Anywhere match.
I know. I was just kidding.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, I think we all know that Drew's going to win this one. It's just it just seems like it's tossed on there to get Drew on the card and not put him in anything too physically demanding. Anytime there's a Falls Count Anywhere type of match, you can just do a bunch of like kendo stick type things or just wailing on each other's ribs, and maybe Drew's not taking as many bumps because he's still got that neck issue that he's dealing with. So we hope that it'll be a fun little match. I'm sure you'll see some shenanigans from Corbin, and maybe Drew gets a buddy like Mansoor or something like that, comes out and helps out. We will see. But Drew McIntyre in like 5 minutes, because it's weird they're making Madcap seemingly like they want us to think he's on his level, which it just is not. I don't feel like that's true at all.
No.
So, yeah.
For me, it's weird for 2 reasons. One, you mentioned the name Mansoor, who's not even on this card, surprisingly, which is very unlike WWE when it comes to these Saudi Arabia events.
Yeah.
So that I could see that happen. I didn't even think of that. But 2, I mean, listen, this match is to do anything to make sure that Drew wins convincingly, easily, and Madcap Moss literally just goes right back down the card. There is no ifs, ands, about this. Like, I don't see this being a long match. I could see them starting it with this just to get it out of the way.
Yeah, fair.
But I think you and I both agree Drew wins this.
I just don't get why they didn't just do something on SmackDown and have like Corbin and Madcap attacking him and then have Mansoor run out and just make it a tag match. Unless there's
Maybe.
something bigger planned.
Maybe
But
they'll do it this week because it is
they did
Saturday.
tape. They did tape SmackDown. That's true. So we'll see.
So who knows?
Yeah.
But
Weird match to have 2 pay-per-views in a row, though, I'll say.
yeah, agreed.
'Cause,
Like this
what the
is a
hell?
feud that definitely should not be happening at the moment.
Definitely not. Or I shouldn't say 2 pay-per-views in a row. 2 pay-per-views in a row for Drew. Because he's now
Right.
faced Madcap 2 pay-per-views in a row when he's been performing. But
Right.
yeah.
Rey Mysterio versus The Miz.
It's cool, I guess.
Saudi
It's such
Arabia.
a weird feud, man. I just they threw them together because it seems like they don't really have much else going on for them heading into Mania season. Ray, you want to be featured prominently because he's your cover athlete for the new 2K game that's going to be coming out in about a month now. So I mean, I'm gonna say the way the storyline's been going with like Dominic and Ray been getting away with like cheating to beat the Miz and stuff like that. You'll probably see Ray get a nice victory and have the Miz complain about it. It's just a weird thing to travel all the way to, a Saudi Arabia show just for another singles match like that.
I agree, man. I just don't understand it. I mean, I understand it's, like you said, you want to get your cover athlete on the cards at all time, but The Miz, really? I mean, The Miz, is this just going to be another thing that The Miz loses?
So it feels like.
Because if this is the case, then our good friend will not be thrilled because The Miz was in the world title run at some point, like this time last year.
Yep.
And now we're settling for him to just get beaten by everybody again. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Still, I mean, even AJ Styles recently came out and said he thinks The Miz is the best heel, in WWE just because of how well he plays his character, where he's like a little chicken shit and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it is weird. He's always featuring some type of a prominent role, but much like everyone else, you finally get that big moment as champion. And we all know how that went. It was kind of like a fluky thing that led to Lashley getting his first championship. That was great. But he still just falls back down. Like, I don't know why he's not in a mid-card title feud or even a tag title feud. I know they released John Morrison, but why? I mean, you could see him stepping up to Priest next. I don't see why not.
Agreed. I don't get it. But I think you and I both agree again that Ray will win this one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't see why Miz would win. Doesn't make sense.
We'll just go on matches that we didn't think we needed to see.
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey and Naomi versus Charlotte and Sonya Deville.
First off, Naomi and Charlotte was a banger on Friday.
Correct.
So happy that finally happened. Sonya finally seemingly having her shenanigans catching up to her by the authorities. Vince McMahon loves writing a long email. So, he likes letting people know how it's going. Telling her stop abusing your power, even though, he did it for 30 years, whatever, doesn't matter. But she got Slapper. She got a nice title match. She really thought the title was going to change hands a couple times. But now we're back to this. And it's cool to keep Naomi involved in this to an extent. And there's just a small part of me that maybe she gets added to the match at Mania. It makes it a triple threat because they're featuring it prominently. But then there's also a part of me that thinks it's 2 nights of WrestleMania. They'll probably do like a last woman standing with Naomi and Sonya to finally blow off the feud. So we'll see. I'm going to have to go with Ronda as well as Naomi pulling off this one and pinning Sonya. Because what else would you do in this situation?
I want to see Naomi pin Charlotte. I really do. Even if it's like Ronda ragdolling her and then Naomi getting the pin, I want to see it.
Yeah.
So for me, again, I know WrestleMania, it should be Rousey versus Charlotte because that's the premiere that people want to see, quote unquote, two of the best names in the business. But there's just a part of me that Rousey, Naomi, and Charlotte in a triple threat match where Rousey beats, or even with Charlotte beating Naomi, and then you save you still have Charlotte as your champion, and you can save Charlotte versus Rousey, or Rousey can go face Becky.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be your scapegoat right there. To one, not have to put the title immediately on Rousey, and two, you don't have to take it off of Charlotte, and she's still your SmackDown Women's Champion.
Yep.
So those different ideas as well. Could it lead to Ronda versus Becky at SummerSlam?
Yeah, if Becky doesn't drop the title to whoever wins at the Elimination Chamber, if you're going to segue into that,
I was.
maybe. Hell yeah.
I mean, come on, man. Great minds think alike.
We get it, bro.
This is what happens when two minds are awake at the same time.
Half asleep, half awake,
Yeah.
half asleep, half alive.
What up? So Elimination Chamber winner gets the shot at Becky in the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania 38. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair versus Doudrop versus Nikki Ash versus the returning, yes, it's official, it's Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Which last week when we were discussing, we were kind of like, it could be Alexa Bliss, but we didn't necessarily think it was going to be Alexa Bliss.
We don't know how long those vignettes are going to run on Raw because they allegedly, when they first started doing it, they were telling at least the news sites were reporting that they filmed a bunch of them or a ton of them. So like, okay, well, how many is that? Is this going to push her to like after the Raw after Mania? Seems like she's kind of like a combination of her old varsity cheerleader gimmick with a touch of dark based on her outfit and everything like that. But I hope they don't bring her back just so she eats the pin, even though it feels like that's going to happen. Because Alexa Bliss is another one of those ones that could be featured so prominently and just has not been because, for better or worse, the Fiend gimmick and all that. So, I mean, your final two, I think I'm going to put down as Belair and Bliss, unless it's Ripley and Belair. Ripley also, by the way, shout out for that great performance in the Gauntlet match on Raw. I don't think anyone at least saw the Gauntlet match coming because I didn't see anything announced on social media beforehand. They just kind of threw it out there, and then Ripley just was wrestling for 45 minutes. Pinned 3 people, had a nice competitive back and forth with Belair, and then ended up finally losing, but after she went through 3 other women. So that's how you establish 2 main event people right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still think it's Belair's match. The story just makes too much sense.
I was holding out hope that somebody else was going to be in and not Alexa Bliss. I don't think Alexa Bliss is the one to take it away from Bianca.
Right.
So this is where I think we see Bianca win. Bianca wins the title of Mania, hopefully. Mm-hmm. And then we get another good run from Bianca that doesn't get thrumped by someone like Becky Lynch coming back.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it could also, again, using my brain here, it just could help Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch because that's the match people want to see.
Yeah.
Just save it for a big 4. Don't use it at a dumb pay-per-view that no one's going to remember. Mm-hmm. Like the one time they did Brock Lesnar versus Mojo at Great Balls of Fire. Don't do it.
That was such a good feud. The match wasn't bad, but they still
but people don't remember it because it was on that pay-per-view.
That they did once. That was a great name for a show, though. And
they should have kept it. They should have kept it.
It was a good pay-per-view.
They should have kept it. Speaking of Raw, real quick, going off topic, did you see Raw's numbers from being on Sci-Fi last night?
I have not seen the early reports. No, were they not great?
1.62 mil.
I mean, that's not terrible.
It's better than what they're doing on USA.
Yeah, right.
So, like, what the fuck? Yeah, Vince, call Sci-Fi. Get the money. Let's go.
Maybe. I mean, the first hour being commercial free, as they kept trying to promote, might have helped a little bit. I don't know how much of a spike that was. I watched most of Raw too. I think I had it on either in the background or was watching it intently as I was like meal prepping or whatever it was. It wasn't terrible. I mean, the Gauntlet match again, I think was awesome, but not much else stuck out.
Also, too, their demographic, the 18 to 49, 574,000, number one. And P18 to 49 amongst cable originals on Monday, despite the transition to Sci-Fi as well.
Hey, well, I mean, hey, good for them. For their audience followed them to the new network. That was pretty good.
I mean, it's been kind of lackluster, and the fact that they're up over 1.5 on a network like that,
it's weird, especially when you're out of your normal slot like that. Like, you just think about what SmackDown does when they go to FS1 for a random show because there's something else going on. They drop to like 1.1 or like 900,000. So they lose almost half their audience half the time. So kudos to Raw and I guess WWE for keeping them in tune, I guess. I mean, I can't say I expected that at all. I'm a little bewildered.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But speaking of Raw, let's talk the Raw Women's Championship match, Becky and Lita.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both can say that it's going to be one of those where they get Lita the spot back. Lita starts fighting, gets like that the comeback that you get in like WWE, like 2K, and then Becky just hits her with the finisher and just see ya.
Yep. I hope it's a good match because I know Lita's a bit out of practice and a little older, but it'll be cool to see her have a nice little match. And it's a dream match, and a lot of people never thought they'd see, Becky Lynch versus Lita. So I think it's safe to say, as always, that as we've been saying, Lynch isn't going to drop the title before WrestleMania. So, alas, here we are. Hopefully it's a good showing for both women.
So, I mean, right now, I was hoping that we'd get more Lita stuff, but right now it just looks like she was only asked to work the Elimination Chamber, and there's really no other plans for her in the future,
And go figure, they had her on Raw last night saying she had one more run left in her, making people think she was going to stick around. So who knows with that?
I mean, I really do hope that we get a Lita match at WrestleMania. Lita Bailey, Lita somebody. Just give me Lita and somebody at Mania.
I still think you need to see Trish and Lita versus Sasha and Bailey. I know Sasha and Bailey aren't the best of pals storyline per se, and Bailey, who knows if she's even going to be back in time, but I feel like that's just one of those matches you can't miss. Or you got to throw, if you have the ability to put it together, you should put it out there for the fans and just to say you did another dream match.
Correct.
Yeah.
That would be ideal, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. SmackDown Tag Titles, Usos versus the Viking Raiders. Usos in like 10 minutes, hopefully. If that.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to open the show, and the Usos are going to win. Yeah, the Viking Raiders don't. They're in a cool little spot. They're kind of getting pushed again on SmackDown, but they just do not seem like a threat. And I could care less. They deserve better, but it's just how they've been treated the last year or so, or since they moved to SmackDown. So Usos and 2.
Just hoping that we'll get the Usos versus somebody good in WrestleMania.
Yeah, I really don't know what they're going to go to now, man, after this. I mean, it's probably going to be Kofi and Big E at this point, so we'll see. Not that we've seen it 1,000 times doesn't mean it's not going to be great. It's just that, again, we've seen it 1,000 times, so.
All right, next one. Elimination Chamber for the WWE title. Bobby versus Brock versus Seth freaking Rollins versus Austin Theory versus Riddle versus AJ Styles. First of all, I think I speak for both of us here when face Brock is top tier. Brock is an character.
He's so good. If anyone hasn't seen his interview on the Pat McAfee show that came out, I believe it was yesterday, so it would have been Monday of this week, on Valentine's Day. It was just unreal, just knee slapping funny, and just Brock showing why he's one of the GOATs. Had a couple strong things to say about the roster. Nothing too wild that you wouldn't expect. Is like a lot of people comparing him now to the role that The Undertaker was in for so long in like those late 2000s, early 2010s before he hung him up, or slowed down, I should say. He just wants someone to step up. He's trying to get the best out of everybody. And well, even on Raw, he shows up, he gives Austin Theory his coat and hat and dressed up as a cowboy and doing all this fun stuff, and then suplexes Austin Theory a few times. Takes a selfie with him, like just little stuff like that. That's his whole gimmick, taking selfies. So I don't know what they did to ask Brock to be like, hey man, this personality thing, just wing it, see what happens. Because this has been the most entertaining run for Brock, I think, since like potentially when he was buddies with Kurt Angle back in the day before they turned on each other. So it's wonderful. No, I don't want him to win again. Before we go any further, I don't want him to win this match at all. But
we're scared he's gonna win.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. With how low the ticket sales have been and everything for WrestleMania right now, and how they're doing the 2 nights, one of your nights headlined by Rousey Charlotte is good, but then your next night being headlined by Roman and Brock, title for title, it just seems like they're gonna panic button it and go right to it. It's been my doomsday scenario since what, December?
Before that.
Yeah, before that. I've been worried about it the whole time. A lot of people keep saying they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. But it looks like
John Alba said they weren't going to do it.
I know. He was wrong about Ronda Rousey too. So love that guy. But sometimes,
I don't know how Brock's gonna get pinned in this match. Is my only thing.
That's where I was gonna go to next because you could have Lashley do it. You could have all of them hit a bunch of finishes on him. It's got to be an interference from Roman. That's all I can think of. What?
You know, it would just be a one of two things is gonna happen. Riddle's gonna pin Brock, or Brock's gonna pin Riddle. It's just because they both can't stand each other. The fact that they're both in this match together, it's
I just want to know what entry Brock's gonna come in because I'd like to see him mix it up with everyone in there. Whether it's gonna be him tossing everybody most of the time.
I feel like he should be the first one.
Yeah.
Have him and Seth first, and have Seth just do his little.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Flippy doos.
Yeah.
Austin Theory definitely seems like the odd man out in this one. So we'll see if he gets a nice little moment. Maybe he'll get a nice big pin and knock out a guy like Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll pin Lesnar. I doubt it, but
yeah.
I still think you're going to see some shenanigans though, because no one in this match believably can pin Brock outside of Lashley. But I don't think they're going to waste that in the chamber yet. You know what I mean? I think they might go back to that at some point for a singles match.
We'll see.
Yeah.
But what looks to be the main event, the Universal Championship, Roman versus Goldberg.
Ugh.
Now, we
didn't say who do you think wins the Elimination Chamber?
I think it's going to be Bobby.
Yeah. Okay. Same. I hope so, and I hope we are both correct.
If anybody's taking the title off him, I'm hoping it's Seth Rollins.
Yeah, because he was supposed to win it a couple of months, like back at the Rumble or whenever it was, or day one, whatever it was. So there you go.
But Roman Goldberg, I mean, we kind of didn't get this one doesn't make sense to me because didn't we not get the finished product from Lashley and Goldberg?
What do you mean?
When Lashley speared Goldberg's kid and Goldberg goes, "I'm coming for you," and then he just never did.
No, he beat him in Saudi Arabia, the last Saudi Arabia show. Then Lashley disappeared for a couple months.
Wow, my brain doesn't.
I think that's how it played out. Yeah, because he definitely got his revenge on Lashley for that one, and then dipped for a little while. And then this is allegedly the last match in his contract too. So I think Roman, obviously, I think we both can agree Roman's going to put him down. It's just this match is going to suck. Yeah. I don't think there's any way around it. It might be hard hitting. It's just not going to be good. I've seen him just attempt too many poor jackhammers at his age. And I appreciate the fact that he can go as best he can right now at his age with the physique that he has. It really is. It's awesome. But bro, you can't be in championship matches anymore. I don't know how many times we have to say this. Unless you're going to be up to the level of like Brock and be featured prominently, you got to do little fucking blow off feuds or dream matches with some other people that might not have a title. It's just, I hope this doesn't main event because it would just be such a damper on the fucking show. I hope the men's Elimination Chamber is the last match.
It has to be. There's no way they end the show with Roman Goldberg. Now that I think about it.
I hope not.
I just wanted
if WWE is smart, they wouldn't do that.
I just wanted to avoid it at all costs because the match is going to be horrible.
Right, exactly.
Roman's
just not going to be good.
Roman's just going to die. Well, people are like, well, they were supposed to fight, and then COVID, and Roman was scared. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all. It's a dream match. Again, it's a battle of the spears, all that. Two, legends of their eras. It's just, again, it doesn't have to be for the fucking championship, man. It's just, that's the one thing they got to stop doing. Mm-hmm. But alas, here we are.
That's the Elimination Chamber. So speaking of bringing people back and not needing it to be for the championship, rumors are starting to swirl that we could be getting.
Oh, Twitter's on fire today, bro.
I don't know. Stone Cold Steve Austin match at WrestleMania.
That started to heat up last night. And then Kevin Owens did a nice little promo about how much he hates Texas and everything about Texas. And the man who, I don't even know how to say, embodies the image and just the Texas itself is the Texas rattlesnake. So they're starting to hint at that. I think if you don't get a match itself, you at least get a promo segment with Owens coming out trashing everybody in Texas and then Austin giving him a stunner. You'll at least get that. But if they get the match going, and Austin can still go and doesn't have to worry about his neck, that's going to be enough to help with your ticket sales. And I think they need it, which is probably why they're leaning towards it.
Yeah.
So.
But again, if that's the case, then they're just going to bring in, I don't know, Stone Cold Steve Austin, dude. not think that The Rock's going to come out at the end of his Roman's WrestleMania match?
It would be something if they brought them both out. Although a lot of us would complain because it's 2 stars from 20 years ago that should necessarily be featured so prominently. But Austin, I think, is different because this would 100% be a last ride match. Like, this is it. This is it.
Like with Austin,
the man shouldn't be out there.
Like with Austin, it wouldn't be a main event slot. It would just be a match to get him back on television.
Right.
The Rock, on the other hand, it would be in the main event slot. Could he get another WWE title run in? You know what I mean? Like, there's just little aspects like that you have to look into with stuff like that. But curious to see, because if it's Kevin Owens, because we said, what is Kevin Owens going to do at WrestleMania? And you give him Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you want to get Kevin Owens over for the next 5+ years, you have him stun him and win.
Imagine. Ooh.
That's how you create stars.
That'd be. There's no way they would do that. But if they did, that would set a bar very high.
I would set Kevin Owens up so big that he would be the second hottest thing in WWE besides Roman Reigns.
Yeah, probably.
All right, enough of this World Wrestling Entertainment Company. We have to slide to the other side. AEW. Hardiman, you were right.
Which part?
For he is limitless. Keith Lee debuted last Wednesday on Dynamite. I didn't want to believe it because I didn't want to get my hopes up, but here we are. Fantastic, but great match. Great performance by Isaiah Cassidy and Keith Lee.
Made him look like $1 million. One
thing that I keyed in on was when they had the Young Bucks and Cole, and then Jay White came out, and they talked about the Forbidden Door. I mean, could we see the guys in New Japan finally coming?
I mean, they've been showing up in TNA a lot more, Impact, so.
But, like, do we see Cole and the Bucks versus Jay White and his crew at a pay-per-view? Is what I'm trying to lean towards. With the potential double cross, Cole cost them the match. Cole, Fish, O'Reilly set up their thing, and then that's how you set up those 3 versus the Elite and Kenny Omega and the Bucks.
I mean, that ain't pretty sick.
Just writes itself, right? It's pretty good.
It does.
Tony Khan.
It does.
What are we doing? Is that down on the table?
You could ask that question in 2 different ways today based on some other news that came out. So
that's another thing.
What
another
are
thing
we
with AEW. Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes officially gone from the company.
It's weird that it did happen because I think everyone thought it was going to be one of those temporary things where he's a free agent. Eventually, they'll come to a deal. And the rumor was that, like, Cody was taking on a lot of responsibility with, like, 2-3 jobs almost as a performer, as well as booking and talent relations, yada, yada, yada. But he was only getting paid his, like, performer money. So he wanted a raise because, again, he's one of the founding members of AEW. And it'd be very... I just can't imagine Cody getting sheared if he's dipping AEW to go to WWE. Like, he's gonna be like he could be a top, like, heel in the company if they don't fuck it up. Because they can literally just say that he sold out and he came back to the dollar signs and a lot of options. And I mean, in TNA, if I say TNA, sorry, in AEW, with his run, it was like he got the TNT title back. That was cool. I don't see what more he could have done if he allegedly was never going to go for the world title. So it almost, like, the timing seems to make solid sense. And he had a lot of good programs, put a lot of guys over, which people don't want to talk about, but he did do a lot for the younger talent.
Darby.
So we'll see where.
MJF.
Scavara. Yep. Brody Lee at the time before his passing.
Yep.
And it's just, he's done a lot. And they owe him a lot, but he's now seeking other ventures, and I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, everyone seems to say he's WWE bound, as they've already had conversations. So we'll see if he's going to show up on Raw or SmackDown, or even if he's going to be featured in anything. Because, like, all right, so he's coming in. Where are you putting him?
Raw.
What spot on the card? Who you putting him? Who you partnering him with? Like,
Unfortunately, for our dream match, if Cody Rhodes comes, it might be on hold. They might do Cody AJ or Alfred.
yeah, they could. Or just it'd be. I mean, you could easily do an AJ Cody match because Cody could be coming in from the outskirts, and AJ's like, "Listen, bro, you dipped. You're clearly not a WWE guy," and he's fully embraced being the WWE guy.
Right.
I mean, you could even have him versus Edge.
Yeah.
Same idea.
But AJ said today that WWE needs to start working with other companies.
Yeah, true.
So for that, I just think Cody could come in, like you said, he could be the best heel in the company. And he could literally do this and he could have went to Tony Khan and be like, hey, I'm gonna go to WWE for a year, maybe 2, and then sign like a quick 2-year deal and then bounce after that and come back and do X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Maybe he's trying to take WWE down from within. You know, you never really know. But this is where Sean Sapp from Fightful.com deserves a lot of credit because he called this last month and people were like, "Oh, this is crap. There's no way he leaves." Here we are.
Yeah.
Sean Sapp, winner's circle. Take a lap. For sure.
And not to I know I kind of the big news today is obviously the Cody Rhodes stuff. I didn't mean to gloss over Keith Lee's debut. He did look incredible. Looked like he was having fun again. Looked like he's going to actually be pushed as himself. Though I haven't seen him advertised for this Wednesday's show. So we'll see where he slots in, who his first feud's going to be or whatever it may be. But yeah, the Cody stuff, man, that's going to take over the airwaves right now. And if WWE's as business savvy as everyone thinks they are, they want to think they are, they're gonna sign him just because it's gonna be controversial. It's the first big name to jump ship from AEW to WWE, so they got to capitalize. So we'll see how it plays out.
And the thing is, people are gonna start thinking that it'll be the trend for when MJF's contract is up and everybody else's contract is up, that they're gonna go right to WWE based off of that.
Yeah. That
right now
it sets a very interesting timeline in place because I didn't think we'd ever see Cody back in WWE after AEW got itself going.
Yeah,
but here we are.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But right now, AEW is trending towards Revolution, which is March 6th on pay-per-view. Don't forget to check that out. Right now, the only match that's on the card, it's the Face of the Revolution ladder match for a future AEW TNT Championship match. Keith Lee, Wardlow, Caster. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Keith Lee, Powerhouse Hobbs, or Dante Martin because they're fighting this week for a shot.
Yep. Right.
Wardlow and Max Caster are fighting this week for a shot. And then there's 3 other spots.
Right. It's a 6-person match, right?
Yeah. So what are we thinking about this? Because I could see Wardlow winning this easily.
The 2 picks for me is got to be Wardlow or Keith Lee. But
you're telling me we're gonna get Keith Lee and Wardlow in the ring together at one point?
And pretty good. So I think the way the MJF storyline's been going, obviously he's gonna verse Punk again, and probably Punk will get his win back. All that. But MJF did say the next thing is for Wardlow to rack up some wins to get a championship to then hand it to MJF. Almost as like he was gonna win it for him. So given that your champion is now Guevara, officially, Wardlow can win this ladder match, win the belt, and then when it comes finally time for MJF to be like, all right, give me the belt, Wardlow could turn on him, and then that just sets this man off to the fucking stratosphere.
Right.
So it just seems to be in place for sometime in the spring. Well, so we'll see how it goes. But it's going to be tough because it's like if you have him and Keith Lee in the match, you can't go wrong with either one.
Correct.
Because, I mean, Keith Lee, I think he's going to be a future world champion in AEW. That just won't be for a little bit. Probably another year or so, because I still think AEW has all their cards. They booked that far in advance. I think obviously some stuff changes, but
correct.
Yeah, I mean a couple other matches that they rumored for it are going to be Punk and MJF finally getting their match, or Punk finally getting his match again. The other one, Bryan and Moxley, because they've now been going back into their feud since Moxley came back out of rehab, and Hangman versus Adam Cole. That's going to be the big title match. And that makes me worry because I think Adam Cole might win because he's that damn good. We'll see.
I mean, listen, I agree with you 100%. I think one thing we could definitely see, we could see the Bucks versus O'Reilly and Fish for sure.
Yep.
That could be something that's in the works. Like Scorpio Sky and Malachi Black could be another one. We could finally get Jericho Kingston. Actually, you know what would make sense for Hangman Page? Guy's been off TV for a little bit. Come back, give him a world title shot. Keep him happy. Miro.
Yeah, that's another one. He's just waiting on writing creative to bring him back.
That could be a perfect spot for him. So the sky's the limit. We'll definitely see it play out within at least this week and then the week after, and then we'll see what the card starts to look like moving forward. But that's going to be a great pay-per-view nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. And also friendly or little somewhat breaking thing that everyone kind of saw coming. There's now a report that 205 Live is officially canned. No more. It's done.
Perfect.
It's done.
So should have been done. How many years now ago?
I mean, you get rid of the championship for the show. It's kind of like, why are we going to keep the show? All right.
I mean, at one point they cut all the cruiserweights. They had the same 6 guys on the show every week.
Yeah, I know. And they just had a bunch of random people showing up on it.
So I mean,
yeah.
No, but I mean, that really covers what we had here. 46. Any final thoughts? I mean, obviously you're gonna want to check into the card this week in AEW. We get two good matches already in line with Wardlow and Max Caster and Powerhouse Hobbs. And God, I just drew a blank on who else it is.
I can't remember if they were spacing one out for Rampage and one out on Dynamite.
Maybe they could be,
because I saw the card a little earlier and I was trying to pull it up, but they have a few things. And again, they've just been on a tear lately. Their ratings are going up. I know they just lost Cody, but you can imagine that might spike their viewership because they're going to wonder if it gets addressed, or the fans are going to wonder if it gets addressed, or what happens next. So, as always, so much going on in the world of professional wrestling.
Yep. And again, if you're not following us on Twitter, make sure you're following us at Suplex Biddies. We have a Twitter guy. He's been very great so far. Hopefully he keeps up the momentum going into what's supposed to be a great stretch for wrestling, as not only do we get the road to WrestleMania, but we're getting the road to Revolution as well, with so many potential good matches on the way as well. So
exactly.
That being said, from all of us here, hopefully Diego's
also March 10th is when Jeff Hardy can finally compete on another TV show. So that seems to be, it's going to be after Revolution and after Dynamite that week, but he could show up on Rampage with Matt Hardy. So that's coming in soon, coming in hot. That's happening.
So hopefully Diego's all done with business next week and he'll be back. Other than that, from Andrew Hartman, Chris Jones, make sure College Guy Sports again, use the internet one time, check them out. From all of us, both of us, all of us, the two of us, we'll see you guys next week for episode 47. Peace. Woo-hoo.